we're back. My friends, the 2025 NFL season is finally here. We will finally have real football that really matters this week, and I can't wait. I'm super excited. And to get ready for the 2025 week one, we will be going through the biggest pieces of news of the NFL offseason, because a lot of this stuff honestly I didn't even remember. So we're gonna go through each team, each division. We're gonna do not that deep of a dive, because again, we're not gonna go through every single cut. We're just gonna go through the most relevant pieces of news for each team to get us ready to get started for the NFL season. Let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World.
So, like I said, we will be going through the biggest pieces of news for each division, and we're going to break it down probably into different videos, just, because it doesn't, otherwise it's going to get really overwhelming, not just for you guys, but also for me doing it. So I think that's the easiest thing. But before we get into all that stuff, let me just remind you really quickly about my Pick'ems League. So every season, I do what it's called a Pick'em League, and you can check out the info here right here. It's NFLPicksPage.com. The name of the league is called SDW League, and the password is SDW 2025. Basically, you can join us throughout the season. Me and my brother, we pick the winners of every single game, and we get a point every single time we select the right team. And at the end of the season, the winner will get all the money that's donated into the league. So I'm gonna start this off same as last year. I'm gonna put $100 in. That's coming out of my pocket. So whoever wins this league gets that money clean. The league is free, meaning you don't have to give us any money to be a part of it. It's free. If you want to join and not put anything in, you can. If you want to join and say that you're going to put in $5, $10, $100, you can. And at the end of the season, you don't want to pay it, well, it's not like we're going to chase you down. This is basically an honor league. Like, it'd be a really dick move, and we'd probably not accept you next year. But basically, that's how that works. Again, let me just show you real quick. I think I have the website here. So you go to NFLPicksPage.com. You go to pools. You select join a pool, and you write down. Well, you need to make an account first, but you find the pool that you want. It's going to be SDW League. The password is SDW 2025. That's SDW all capital letters. It's right here on the screen if you're checking this out on YouTube. Again, it's fun. If you join the league, you don't have to let me know. You can just join it, put your picks of every team you think it's going to win every single week, and honestly, it doesn't matter. You don't have to tell me or anything. However, if you want to join the league and make a bet, or say like I'm putting in $5, $100, whatever, however much you want. Like I said, I'm putting $100 because it's my league, and it's just to make it more interesting. Winner takes all. If you want to do it that way, just let me know so I can keep a counter and let people know, like, hey, right now the counter is up to $1 million, and winner takes it all. Stuff like that, like. I don't think we could do it up to $1 million, to be honest. I think the IRS would have something to say there, but as long as we keep it, it's just for fun. It's just for fun. I've done this a few seasons in a row. I really like doing it. I want to keep doing it. So there you go. If you guys want to join, that's the easiest way to do it. If you are not sure and you want to join by, let's say, week 6, you can, but you would be starting off from the last place. All right, so whoever has the least amount of points, that's where you'll be joining. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. But let's get into it. Let's get into the biggest offseason news for every single division, and I believe we are going to start with the NFC East. The NFC East, we're going to start because they have the reigning Super Bowl champs there, the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's keep it big. So the Philadelphia Eagles, like I said, Super Bowl champs, reigning Super Bowl champs. They beat the shellacking out of the Kansas City Chiefs. They actually had a pretty decent season, 14-3. So they were a powerhouse team last season. So how could they get better? How could they get worse? What do they need to do to maintain their reign, to maintain their crown? Well, first move they did is they re-signed Saquon Barkley. They extended him for a 2-year extension, $41.2 million, which, good for him. He earned it. He's a key reason why they made it to the Super Bowl. Now, he didn't do as much during the Super Bowl, but he was a key reason why they were there. And honestly, dude did take up a lot of attention. So still, it doesn't matter. Like, they would not have made it there without Mr. Saquon Barkley, I'm pretty sure. So first thing they do is they extended him. They also extended their right tackle, Lane Johnson, one of the better right tackles in the league. So solidifying their offensive line for yet another season. And then they started losing a hell of a lot of players. So as it tends to happen with Super Bowl winning teams, a lot of players get a lot of attention from other teams, and they leave for a lot of money. So notable departures, you got linebacker Josh Sweat, who left for the Cardinals, defensive tackle Milton Williams for the Patriots, guard Mekhi Becton, who left for the Chargers, cornerback Darius Slay left for the Steelers, running back Kenneth Gainwell left for the Steelers as well, offensive lineman Fred Johnson was traded to the Jaguars, linebacker Oren Burks went to the Bengals, and safety CJ Garner-Johnson was traded to the Texans. So those are the biggest notable departures. Fortunately, the Eagles were so deep because they probably have the best GM in the league, Howie. I forget his name. I always just hear him being called Howie, but he has a pretty good operation going there. They have a pretty deep bench, so I'm not too concerned about the Eagles. The big concern with the Eagles is that they lost their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and so their new offensive coordinator is a guy named Kevin Patullo, who was their former passing game coordinator. So they're going to keep a little bit of continuity there. Still, there might be some growing pains earlier in the season, or maybe none at all. We'll see. I mean, their passing game was not great during the season. During the Super Bowl, it was fine, but they do have some pretty good pass catchers over there, and quarterback who can sling it when he wants to. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't think this is a concerning move, but I mean, it sucks when you lose your offensive coordinator who was doing wonders for you and who won you Super Bowl, but we'll see where this goes. I'm honestly not too concerned about the Eagles. Like I said, deep bench, and losing Kellen Moore is not the biggest thing in the world, or at least I don't think so. Might take a slow start, but they're deep enough, and their defense was good enough last season, so we'll see how it goes. Next, the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders, who were the runners-up in the NFC Championship. They were the second best team in the NFC, and they finished the regular season with a record of 12-5. This entire season, the Commanders overperformed last season, and everything pretty much hinges on Jaden Daniels right now. Will Jaden Daniels continue to develop? Because they have a really old team. Like, they have, I think, the second oldest team, and they have maybe one of the youngest players in the league with Jaden Daniels. So they need to really protect them. They invested a lot in their offense. What they do? They traded with the Texans for left tackle Laramie Tunsil. Now, why has Laramie Tunsil moved around so much in the league, considering that he's a really good player? I don't know, but if you guys remember his draft day, everybody expected him to be number one, but then a video came out of him wearing a gas mask, which was a bong, and so that made him drop all the way to the Dolphins, and then he's been moving around the league. It was a weird thing for the Texans to do, but, good move for the Commanders. They traded for him, they picked him up, they gave him an extension, so hopefully he will be protecting Jaden Daniels for a pretty long time, because again, he's a pretty good player. They also traded for wide receiver Devo Samuel with the 49ers, and they extended scary Terry McLaurin. So this was a great move. Terry has been quarterback proof his entire career, and by that I mean that doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball, he's putting up numbers, and he's had some pretty, let's just say, not the best quarterbacks throwing him the ball in Washington. So good for them. He was really good for Jaden Daniels. He's been really good for their organization for a very long time. So good on him for making his money. Next, probably the team that made the biggest news this offseason, the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys love being in the news, but I don't think that this is the way they want it to be in the news. So first off, if you guys remember, last season they ended 7-10, and head coach Mike McCarthy got fired. He got fired, and their new head coach is now Brian Schottenheimer, who was the former defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, was this the best pickup out there? I don't think so. I thought it was very weird, but all right, considering that the defense wasn't stellar for the Cowboys, but okay. And then things just kept getting weirder and weirder. So first off, they started making some offensive moves, and Dak Prescott's going to be back, so that's a good thing. He's, no longer injured. They traded for George Pickens with the Steelers, which now that means that they got a pretty solid wide receiver 1-2 duo there in Dallas. Now, Pickens has been known to be a bit problematic on the field, but dude can catch balls. So now you got CeeDee Lamb, Pickens out there. Should be good, right? Should be slightly better outlook than last season, right? And then things got really weird this past week when star defensive end, the pass rusher, edge rusher, Micah Parsons got traded to the Green Bay Packers. So this guy's, I'm sure you've probably heard the news. Micah Parsons traded to the Green Bay Packers, probably their best defensive player, generational player, blah, 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 blah. There's so many freaking levels to this story. I honestly do not even know where to start, but I will begin with the things that I do not understand the most. So not only do I not understand keeping him within the conference. Usually when you trade a good player, you send him to a different conference, right? So let's say the Khalil Mack trade from the Raiders to the Bears. The Raiders are in the AFC, the Bears are in the NFC. It makes sense. However, if you're going to be trading him within the conference, because let's say they give you the best trade value. By the way, the trade value was they gave him a defensive tackle, I believe it's Kenny Clark, and 2 first-round draft picks, which is hilariously low. Honestly, everybody and their mother right now is being like, dude, Jerry's gone senile. That is nothing. That is pennies for an edge rusher. And then, the freaking Packers paid him billions and billions of dollars, but whatever. That's not the point. So they did not get the proper compensation, or at least what everybody out there is saying, dude, that's not enough for Micah Parsons. I mean, 2 first rounders and a defensive tackle who's in his 30s for a 26-year-old edge rusher who every single season has had at least 12 sacks, you're getting fleeced. So that's bad enough. Then you trade him within the conference. And then you don't just trade him within the conference, you trade him to a team that's actually in contention. All right, so you don't send him to a team who's like bottom of the barrel, go and suffer over there. Like, this is what you get. Or a team where he's not going to hurt you. No, you send him to a contender. And not just any contender, a rival. All right, the Green Bay Packers were the last time the Cowboys were in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers knocked them out. So it's a historical rival. And not only that, you're playing against them in week 4. Nothing in this story makes sense. Nothing here. The only thing that might make a little bit of sense is if Micah Parsons is just a total freaking cancer in the locker room and the organization. Everybody's like, get him out of here. He wants he wants too much money. He's not worth it. But the production on the field's been there. So, and for every single thing I've heard of Micah Parsons, he's not really that kind of dude. So I don't know. And also, the dude was a Cowboys fan. Like, he grew up a Cowboys fan. He wanted to play for the Cowboys. So none of this makes any sense whatsoever for the Cowboys. Good for Micah Parsons. Good for the Packers. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. I don't expect them to be anything this season. I expect them to have a decent offense. However, I mean, how much of their offense was Mike McCarthy? Because Mike McCarthy was actually a pretty decent head coach. I'm not going to say he was phenomenal. He had terrible clock management, but dude knew how to win games. So, and he did it with Cooper Rush. He won games with Cooper Rush. So Brian Schottenheimer, I don't know what they're going to get from him. I don't know where this team's going to go. The offense might be okay, but the defense, what are you doing? What are you doing? And also, they didn't set up a plan to replace him. All right. Usually, you trade these types of players earlier in the offseason when other teams have cap space, when they have players trade, when they have draft picks that you can use that year to replace Micah Parsons. I'm upset. I don't get it. I'm also upset because they didn't trade him to my team. So none of this is good if you're a Cowboys fan. Or if you're a fan of team in the NFC North that's not the Packers, because none of this is good for you. But like I said, Jerry's happy when people are talking about the Cowboys, so good for him, I guess. I mean, they are calling him an idiot, but whatever. If he's happy, good for him. And finally, the last team in the NFC East, we have the New Jersey Giants. The New Jersey Giants, who finished with a record of 3-14. And I have no idea how Brian Daboll did not get fired. This was probably the worst season for the Giants, or if you're a Giants fan, ever. So let's do a quick recap. So they let go of Saquon Barkley because they couldn't pay him and Daniel Jones. So they chose, we'll keep Daniel Jones. So they let go of Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley goes to the Eagles, a division rival, and wins the Super Bowl. So that's a triple slap in the face for you. So Daniel Jones, who you let Saquon Barkley go to keep, you ended up dropping him in the middle of the season because he sucked. So you had to eat up a big chunk of his contract, and you ended up without either of the two players. So arguably the best, well, I'm not going to say that Daniel Jones is best, but let's say Saquon Barkley, definitely your best offensive player. So you're without those two. Then Eli Manning was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is hysterical. Man, hate stupid Eli Manning. And what else? Oh yeah, you kept Brian Daboll. Now, Brian Daboll does not seem like the worst head coach ever, but I don't know what the hell's been going on in New York for the last few years. It's just been a mess from beginning to end. Fortunately, they did make a few moves this offseason that could make them a bit more interesting. First off, they drafted QB Jackson Dart, who they brought in Russell Wilson as their quarterback, and they drafted quarterback Jackson Dart. And it looks like Jackson Dart actually beat out Russell Wilson for the starting position, so he will be the starting QB for the New York Giants. This is shocking, to be honest. I thought they would ease him in a little bit more, but I guess this is how badly Russell Wilson stinks. Like, he can't throw the ball anymore, so this might be the last time we see Russell Wilson play in the NFL. So, all right. I mean, he had a good run, but his decline was catastrophic. I have never seen a player fall off that quickly, that bad. So good luck to him, I guess. And so Jackson Dart, and they drafted edge rusher Abdul Carter. So Abdul Carter is he an edge rusher? I believe so. It was, I'd say, considered to be one of, if not the best prospect for this NFL draft. This makes their defense very interesting. The Giants already have an interesting front seven, a very good front seven. So this, if Carter is any good, he will bring them over the top. And I mean, the offense does, if Jackson Dart has chemistry with Malik Neighbors, who Malik Neighbors appears to be a pretty good wide receiver heading into his second season, and the defense can be stingy, I think they will win a little bit more than people expect. Because right now people are writing them off. I don't know. I think they might surprise a few people. Again, in the end, they might just surprise me because I'm totally and completely wrong about them. But we'll see. But yeah, if I have to rank these teams, I think the Eagles are going to come out in first place once again. Commanders second. I think the Giants have a chance to sneak third, and the Cowboys are going to be bottom of the barrel. Like, right now they're freaking, what is it? Their spirit has to be like just completely crushed. I mean, you let go of your best player the week before you have to play the reigning Super Bowl champs, a division rival. It makes no sense. And I could add more stuff that doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense, but there you go. That is the biggest pieces of news from the NFC East. We will move on to another division, but before we do that, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at DarioSDW and at Super Dario World. And again, if you want to join my Pick'em League, it's NFLPicksPage.com. The pool is SDW League, two separate words, and the password is SDW2025, all capital letters. Everybody's welcome. I'm putting in $100. If you want to put any amount of money, just let me know. Again, at @SuperDarioWorld and at SDW.com on Instagram. You don't have to. It's free. It's just fun for everybody. So if you want to join, there you go.